That it is. I mean, if you look at the top 20 banks, the median bank is going to buy back over 8% of its shares over the next 12 months. That's up from around 6% over the last 12 months. And the median bank's dividend yield is about 3.5%. So that gives you an all-in yield of over 11%. That's the highest of any of the 24 S&P subsectors. So this group clearly is attractive from a yield perspective.
So before we get to your three recommendations, let me just try and narrow it down. There are banks, and then there are banks, and some of them are regionals, and some of them are small, and some of them are trust banks, and some of them are full service. Where's the sweet spot?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stress test results last night, the money center and trust banks, or the custody banks, did better than the regional banks. The regional banks were able to kind of skip this year's stress test, but had some constraints based on what they did last year. So from a yield perspective, their results were a bit on the lower end. In addition, the interest rate environment is a bit challenging at the moment. So we do have a bias towards the bigger banks, given that's just where the valuations are a bit more attractive.
Wells Fargo, PNC, JP Morgan. Jason, what's the deal with Wells Fargo's CEO search?
Today I think marks 3 months to the day. These things typically take 3, 4, 5 months. So we're not kind of at a point where we get worried, although that is a slot you'd like to see filled in the not so distant future.
Yeah, and meanwhile, JP Morgan, we've talked obviously at length about PNC. Is there a consolidation play in general that is going to come up here at some point with the banks, or no? I mean, is this all pretty much locked in, at least for the top ones?
No, I mean, we think this industry, will see continued consolidation. We think the number of banks in the U.S. will halve over the next 20 years or so.
Wow.
So that's over, 2,500 acquisitions. Some big, some small. We got SunTrust, BB&T earlier this year. We look for the Fed to approve that transaction by the end of the year, and we think that could help serve as a catalyst for additional M&A. So we don't think that theme is fully played out yet.
Let's talk a little bit about Wells Fargo. Is the worst behind it? I mean, the dividend yield is 4.4%, but dividend yields also reflect a stressed stock price often.
It is. So it is a 4.4% dividend yield against a 2% 10-year. So pretty outstanding there. And then on top of that, they're going to buy back over 11% of their stock over the next 12 months. So that's that's real, and that's capital going back to shareholders. This company has done a good job on credit quality, buying back a lot of stock. We think there's a lot of wood for them to chop on the expense front. We think once they get a new CEO in the door, that'll be a big focus. So really, the only thing left to do is kind of restart the revenue growth. And we think, if they hire the right person, that's not something that's hard to do from here.